Today in the bunker, we're going to build a train station suitable for the Underhive. Now that the train is ready, and I have some track done, people need a place to get on and off the train, like civilized Underhivers. So using two of my 1 foot square boards, and I apologize, this one is not even prepared yet. I had to cut it out for this video. I thought I had two of these like this. I only had one. So this will be the stand-in. So just use your imagination. But I wanted a like a platform area and a tunnel and all that. Here it is, just sort of dry fit. I put this together on the bench, and we'll go over the various pieces that I cut out and what they're going to do. The texturing and the painting and everything will be identical to the Zone Mortalis set that I did, and I'll put the link up in the corner for that. You know, we're just going to use our friend the crumpled foil ball and all that good stuff. So let's go over the various bits, and we'll see how this goes together. The most difficult piece to make is the tunnel entrance pieces, and I did those using a circle cutter on a hot wire table. You could cut this out with a knife, although if you're using a hobby knife or a craft knife, I would suggest probably trying to make a squared entrance instead of a circle, just because that would just be such a fun thing to try and cut with a knife, although folks out there can do it. So if you can, more power to you. I would completely butcher that with even my Olfa knife. So I cheated and used the hot wire table because, you know, hey, I got it. But that piece, and I made sure to use a diameter that was big enough that would make a sensible sized tunnel or tube for the train to go through, and then just cut down and made it into a tunnel entrance. We're going to glue that to this side wall. And let's put that there. Here's one that's already glued it together. I've trimmed everything because I sort of did this on the fly, so my measurements were sort of imprecise. But you can see I've started to texture it and all that. I am not going to texture this part because it's going to get painted flat black, because we just want that to have the suggestion of an opening. And the back walls, just do a back wall or walls tall enough and wide enough to cover that back side. And we're going to put graffiti and whatnot on there. Same thing with these side walls. And then at the base here, there are these loading ramps. Well, literal ramps to get up there. You could make stairs. Ramps are probably the easiest because you'd want to bring cargo up there too. And that's just a straight piece that I texture and everything. And if you wanted to have a larger area for that, like I want to put like a ticket booth or gate or something, then I would make a larger piece that'll fit down here. Here, let's go action cam. And it'll fit right there. And then you could have your ramp. If you cut a shorter ramp, you could have it go up there, or, you know, however you wanted to do it. But there's more space up here for gates or fences or offices or whatever. Now, if you want to be really fancy, and the way I originally intended to do this was to go get some PVC pipe that had like a 5 or 6 inch inner diameter and cut that to make a pipe opening, a tunnel opening. But I didn't have time to go get any of that, so I went ahead and just did this with foam. This you could do with cardboard. You could do with any number of materials that you can easily cut. So it doesn't have to be foam, just kind of whatever you have on hand. And really the key, I think, is going to be in the painting and the finishing. So we will go ahead and get the rest of this textured and start getting this ready to put together. After getting all the pieces glued together, and I just used regular tacky glue for that, I went ahead and added, just like we did on the walls of the previous project, I added the drywall screws in there just to give it some weight. It makes it surprisingly stable. So it's well worth doing, especially even tall walls like that. It's really tough to knock them over just randomly. So we're going to go ahead and get these prepped for painting. Having worked on this project off and on over the last week or so, mainly due to being ill, I've managed to skip around and not do steps in order. As you can see, I've got some of these preliminarily painted, and I didn't put any of my piping or greebles or any of that on there. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and get that stuck on, and then we'll take a look at it and get back to painting this. To add a bit of visual interest to the fairly plain concrete, I've added some details. I can't really see them here very well, but I added on each of the tunnel entrances some little spiky decorative bits hanging down. And I took some 3D printed vents that I'd got. These are from the Miscast group that I got, and just added them in various places. Same thing on this back wall, that's one of them. This is one that I made from the pull tab off of a liquid container, probably orange juice or something, or milk, and then took a sew-on snap and used that, glued that in place, and we're going to paint that a little differently, and that'll become like a handle to open that. And then I took an actual leftover GW bit, and all of these I carefully cut around and then cut out a space in the foam and sat them down in there, and then just glued them in with PVA, and that'll hold them once they're down in that foam. And then I did the same on this side. I was going to add like pipes and whatnot, but I wanted to use these pieces in a fairly generic way, so if they have pipes that butt up against something that's not there, that'll look a little odd. So I decided not to do that. If I was making more of a dedicated piece, I probably would add that along with some wiring and whatnot. But we're just going to go with these for now. That'll help kind of break up the drabness of the concrete. We'll also add some markings and whatnot. So we're going to get the other bits painted, and we'll see what we end up with. All right, all the pieces except for the one floor tile have their base coats on. I'm going to finish that floor tile, get it ready, and then we're going to put a black wash on everything and go back and do some highlighting, and then we will add our graffiti and our signage. Here's some weathering added, some rust streaks, water stains, that sort of thing. So we're going to continue on. I'm going to add some signage, some painted on markings, and some posters. And of course some hazard stripes, because it's the Underhive. So let's see what we can do. So here it is with some graffiti and some posters that I dirtied up. The posters mainly came from the ones over at Yak Tribe, which is a fantastic resource. The graffiti of trying some different things, like this is a roller piece from the infamous Bob, who I wish was here to play this with us. A tag from the Goliath gang, the Ironjaw Frenzy, station number, and of course a warning that that's the danger zone, and an advertisement for some water, a recruiting poster, a warning about mutants, and our friend Spug, who seems to get around. But the weathering and the posters, of course our hazard stripes because it's NECROMUNDA, makes a pretty good train station. So I think it's an easy build. It just took me forever because I was sick, but you should be able to knock this out pretty quickly, and I think it'll add a lot to your games. I made this 2 feet by 1 foot, but you could make it pretty much any size, and that would be no problem. So hopefully this helped. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe, and I hope you have a fantastic day.